Chima fires aircraft carrier killer missile in warning to U.S. Chima fired two missiles, including one dubbed a aircraft carrier killer, into the South China Sea, according to a news report, and a pointed warning to the U.S. as tensions in the disputed sea lane rises to new levels. The South China Morning Post reported on Thursday that Beijing fired one intermediate-range ballistic missile, FD-26B, from Qinghai province, and another medium-range ballistic missile, FD-21D, from Zhejiang province on Wednesday, in response to U.S. aerial activities in a no-fly zone. In response, Mark Esper, the U.S. defense chief, said Chima has repeatedly fallen short of promises to abide by international law, noting Chima seems to be flexing its muscles the most in the Southeast Asia. The two missiles were reportedly fired in the direction of the area between Hainan province and the disputed Perseal Islands. The Hong Kong-based publication added, quoting an unnamed source. According to the newspaper, a U.S. U-2 spy plane had reportedly entered a Chinese designated no-fly zone on Tuesday without permission during a live-fire naval drill conducted by Chima in the Bohai Sea off its north coast. In a social media post, Liu Jingming, Chima's ambassador to the UK, said the U.S. move severely disrupted Chima's normal exercises and training activities. Zhao Linglen, Chima's foreign ministry spokesman, described the spy plane overflight as provocative actions and urging U.S. to stop. Chima's military will neither dance to the tune of the U.S. nor allow the U.S. to cause trouble. Defense Ministry's spokesman Wu Quan said on Thursday, amid rising tensions between both militaries, he said, Chima hopes the U.S. can take practical measures to create a positive atmosphere for high-level exchanges between their two militaries. The DF-26B missile, which was formally launched earlier this month, and is capable of hitting moving targets at sea, making it an aircraft killer, according to the state-owned Global Times. Chima's Defense Ministry spokesperson, Senior Colonel Wu Quan, was previously quoted as saying the missile can carry conventional or nuclear warheads and is capable of launching precise strikes on land and sea targets. With its range of 4,500 kilometers or 2,800 miles, DF-26 can reach the West Pacific and the Indian Ocean as well as the American facilities in Guam, the British islands of Diego Garcia, and even Australian city Darwin. The Pentagon chief Esper, in a thinly veiled swipe at Chima, said the U.S. has a responsibility to lead in the Pacific and won't cede an inch to other countries that think their potential system is better. Chima had not lived up to promises to abide by international law, rules, or norms. And Beijing wants to project its power globally, he added. To advance the CCP's agenda, the People's Liberation Army continued to pursue an aggressive modernization plan to achieve a world-class military by the middle of the century, Esper said, referring to the ruling Chinese Communist Party. This will undoubtedly involve the PLA's provocative behavior in the South and East China Seas, and anywhere else the Chinese government has deemed critical to its interest. Within accepted rules, the DF-21 has been described as an anti-ship ballistic missile system also meant for attacking moving ships at sea. In July, 2 U.S. aircraft conducted freedom of navigation exercises and the military drills with its allies in the South China Sea, promoting an angry response from Beijing. Speaking on the condition of autonomy to Reuters, a U.S. official confirmed the firing of 2 missiles on Wednesday, adding an assessment underway to determine the type of missile launched. The Pentagon, meanwhile, confirmed the U-2 overflight adding to activity in the Pacific region was within the accepted international rules and regulation governing aircraft flights. News of the missile's launch come as the U.S. announced it was blacklisting 24 Chinese companies and targeting individuals it said are part of construction and military action in the South China Sea. Its first such sanctions moved against Beijing over the disputed seas. The U.S. Commerce Department said the 24 companies played a role in helping the Chinese military construct and militarize the international condemned artificial islands in the South China Sea. Separately, the State's Department said it would impose visa restrictions on Chinese individuals responsible for or complicit in such actions and those linked to China use of coercion against Southeast Asia claimants to inhibit their access to offshore resources. In July, Washington said it could sanction Chinese officials and enterprises involved in coercion in the South China Sea after it announced a tougher stance rejecting Beijing's claim to offshore resources there as completely unlawful. China claims virtually all of the potential energy-rich South China Sea, but Brunei, Malaysia, and Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam also claim to parts of an area through which more than $3 trillion of trade passes each year. The U.S. accuses China of militarizing the South China Sea and trying to intimidate Asian neighbors who might want to exploit its extensive oils and gas reserves. U.S. warships have gone through the area to assert the freedom of access to international waters, raising fears of confrontations. A spokesperson for China's embassy in Washington condemned the U.S. sanctions as completely unreasonable and urged the U.S. to reverse them. The South Chima Sea Islands is an integral part of Chima's territory and is fully justified for us to build facilities and deploy necessary defense equipment there, the spokesperson said. The Chilean government has firm determination to safeguard its sovereignty and territorial integrity.